Welcome, everyone, to A Mexican and a Redneck Follow the World. We are your hosts and surrogate fathers, Juan and Ben. Today we'll be discussing the importance of men respecting men. Ben, do you respect me?
I respect you, Juan.
Thank you! Oh my gosh, that's so sweet!
Don't do that again, please.
Oh, yes, that's why. That's why it's so important for men to respect men, just so we can be sweet with each other. You know,
Is that why we do it?
I guess so. Or, less fights. I don't know.
Less fights?
Yeah.
Maybe tolerance for each other?
Tolerance for each other. No, that's like, going back. No, respect is very important for men. We talked about this in a previous episode, the importance of women respecting men, but then we kind of talked a little bit as far as the importance of men respecting men. But it goes back to, it's part of our DNA.
Mm-hmm.
We crave respect.
Oh, yeah.
And then as far as even with the podcast, we're talking about being fathers, fathering the next generation, or fathering our kids, or just being a good dad.
Mm-hmm.
A good dad is somebody you respect.
Oh, yeah.
And I was talking to you about this as far as like the importance of being of respect. There's really less violence in the world when you respect somebody. When you're able to have a conversation with somebody, but you still have the respect to be able to walk away and be able to say, "Hey, I disagree with you, but I honor you as a man. I respect you as a man, and we're just gonna leave it as that."
How about at work, for example? When you respect somebody, you might not be able to stand being around them.
Yeah.
And you're sitting in a room with them, but because you respect them, you're not sitting there thinking about how much you hate their hobbies or how frustrated you are about what they're doing. You're just like, I really don't like what you're doing at work, but I respect you. And you can tolerate them. You can work with them. You can get along. You're like, okay, if that's the way you got to have it, fine. That's the way it'll be. I respect you. Let's move on to the next thing. We'll just do it that way. It allows you to compromise.
Yeah.
It allows you to have that give. And if they respect you, they're going to also be in that same boat. They'll be like, fine, if that's the way you want it, that's the way it'll be. Let's move on.
So then it goes back to like in the previous episode that we talked about, as far as respect is given initially, but then if respect is lost, it has to be earned back. So then for a man, do you have any scenarios in that where a man has lost your respect, but then they work back to get it?
Not off the top of my head.
No, and that's fine, because it's hard.
It really is hard, because I just respect. And I say that in that I just know who I respect and I know who I don't respect. So if you tell me a name of a person, I go, oh yeah, I respect them.
Yeah.
If someone says Juan, I'll be like, yeah, he's at the top of the list. Next person, please.
But so I haven't had that. I just being honest here, I haven't had that either. As far as like where somebody's lost my respect, but then they've worked hard to gain it back. So maybe I'm just not that big of an influencer. I don't know.
Not in their life.
Yeah. But I've had men who've called me out on my lack of respect for them, but it's caused me to change my behavior because I don't want to lose their respect.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've had that happen.
Maybe it has happened. You just haven't realized it.
Yeah. So like
because in your situation, I've been there too. It's been like, oh man, someone called me out like, you need to quit being that way. And I was like, whoa, I need to quit being that way.
Like a clear instance, like one of my good friends, Ben, he had a daughter, younger daughter, and he's like,
this is another Ben.
Another Ben.
Okay.
I have many Bens in my life. He told me, he's like, Juan, can I ask you something? I was like, yeah, sure, anything, Ben. He's like, could you quit cussing so much in front of my daughter? And I was like, I didn't even realize I was doing it. Yes, I apologize. I am so sorry. So sorry.
Yeah.
And then I remember that was the point where I quit cursing. I quit cussing. And I was like, oh. But it was him pointing it out, me respecting him enough to be like, yes, I'm going to do that for you.
You disrespected him, and you were working to earn it back.
Yes.
Like, yeah. Hey, man, yeah. Next time you see me, no more. Every time you see me from now on, no more cussing.
And even still, like his daughter, she had more respect for me because she was like, oh, you changed. Your speech is nice.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's not a bad thing to want to earn that respect back. Everybody has their boundaries, and we're going to cross our boundaries. It's going to happen. I'm going to cross your boundaries. You're going to cross mine. But me saying, hey, you just crossed my boundary. I need you to step back, please. And you going, oh, okay, yeah, sure. I realize I was wrong. Now I respect you a little more
Yeah.
than I
Well,
did before.
and, you know, and
And
then
it's
going
like
back,
you're that much better because I know you're willing to work with me.
oh yeah, and then going back to like as far as like talking about like I think we actually we have had a moment where men have earned our respect back, like talking about our dads, you know,
Mm.
because if I think about it, a lot of like daddy issues, what is that really a result of? You lose respect for your father.
Ooh.
You know, it's like you're angry at him. You don't, you know, if he's telling you what to do, and you just don't respect him enough to listen to him anymore. It's like, oh, I'm not gonna listen to you. I'm gonna do what I want to do.
That's
Why?
good perspective.
Because you don't respect him anymore. His authority over your life has gotten to a point to where it's no longer that great for you to actually give the respect that it deserves. Which, in a lot of times, it might be justified. You know, if you're coming as a father, if you're coming to your child from a point of you must do what I say because I'm instilling fear in you. At one point, that child is going to get big enough to be like, you're really not that big of a threat.
And that's we need to stop there because there's a difference between fear and respect.
Yes.
Like you can have a healthy fear, sure. I know a tiger can kill me. I know my dad when I'm little would spank me or punish me. But that's because you're recognizing the laws, quote unquote, of that land. You know, same way I fear going to jail. I don't want to go to jail like most people, you know. I hope most people don't want to go to jail. But that's a healthy fear, you know. But then I respect the laws because that's there. So is there a way you would describe the difference between fear and respect? Like,
yeah, it's, you know, it's almost something like, for instance, now if my dad were to call me and say, hey, I need you to do this for me, I would do it because I respect him enough to do it, not because I'm afraid of the consequences for me not doing it. So it's all about the, you know, it's the motive behind why you're doing something. Is it, are you afraid of the consequences that you're going to receive for not doing it, or because you're gonna get punished, or are you doing it because you don't want to lose that respect that man has for you?
oh yeah,
Everything is motive driven. You know, there's always a motive behind why we do something. We always do something for a reason. What is that reason that's coming down to? And when you really analyze it, is it based on fear? It's like, oh, if I don't do this, then my dad's going to come and beat me. Well, at this point in my life, he's not going to do that anymore. But at this point in my life, it's like, hey, if I don't do something, it might be because, oh, he's going to stop talking to me. That relationship is going to get scarred, and I'm going to lose that, and I don't want to lose that. Or it may be a point where you're in the life and you're like, really don't care about that relationship. I'm just not going to do it because I really just don't care about it. You know, so it all comes to, like, for you, instance for you, if you told me, hey, Juan, I need you to do this for me, I'd be like, done, got it, whatever it is.
yeah.
You know, just pretty much
yeah.
is like 3:00 in the morning, you call me, hey, dude, I got a flat tire. Can you come help me? Yeah, I'll be there in 5 minutes. You know, if another person calls me, is like, hey, I need, man, call AAA. You know,
There's
like,
a service for that.
yeah, there's it's like, yeah, it's like, you know, there's no, you know, there's a level of respect, and then respect is one of those things, man. It causes you to do things that you may not necessarily do for yourself, but you're gonna do it for that person because it's the way that men show love to one another. It's that respect, which is it's not is a tangible thing, but it's also like intangible thing.
We're getting into a very hard to describe gray area for
Yeah.
sure. And you know, my dad, man, I had so much respect for him. I still do. I mean, for his memory and his, you know, who he is. To honor him, I have respect for him. And that's the thing. Respect leads to you honoring that person. My dad, he had this approach. It was very interesting. I mean, he's a brilliant person, very interesting. And I had so much respect for him. And like, oh, my dad could beat up your dad.
Oh yeah.
You know, and I'm seeing that now because now I'm at the age where my dad was when I was starting to remember.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you get in that 5-6-year-old age, you really start having memories and you can understand the circumstances a little better. And I'm getting to that point, but I'm the dad in this scenario.
Yeah.
And my son is at the place where I was because he's starting to put stuff together. And so it was so funny. Last night, I couldn't see him, but I heard him and my oldest talking about something, and she was just kind of pushing his buttons a little bit and messing with him. And my oldest daughter was like, you know what? Grammy and Gramps can't do this. And I don't even know what they were talking about, but and he just sat quietly, and he's like, oh. And she's like, well, mommy can't do it. And he's like, oh. And she said someone else can't do it. And he's like, oh. And she's like, daddy can't do it. And he didn't go, oh. It just got real quiet. And he heard, daddy can do it. And I was like, whoa. He's like, daddy is strong and he can do anything. And my son's just like got that respect and honor for me. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm doing the dad thing the right way.
You're like, man, let me go do some more push-ups.
what, I want to know what they're talking about. I want to know what I can do. This is amazing,
Yeah.
But when you have that moment, you go, oh, yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Oh, I am a good dad.
Yeah.
Wow, my son thinks that way of me. He's got that respect for me, and I guess I've been instilling the principles of you need to respect your father, your mother, other people,
And, and if you're in a relationship out there, guys, where, you've lost respect with your dad, you've lost respect with that individual, there's always, everybody's an expert at something. Like for instance, my dad, man, when it comes to training horses, I know he knows how to do that. Like he's done it for years. That's his passion. He loves it. I can respect him in that subject matter. I'm not really too big into horses, but as far as taking care of animals, like, I got chickens. I got, a little mini farm desire type thing going on. So when I go to him, I can have the conversation and it's going to be a respectful conversation. And the advice that he gives me on that, I'm going to be able to take it at value and be like, okay, he's giving me something to value. And then he'll receive that and be like, man, that's how you give a man respect. It's like where you take like what he knows and you put value to it and then you implement it in your life.
Mm-hmm.
That's showing a man respect. So it's, if you're in a relationship where, you've lost respect for a man, find a subject matter. And this is if you're trying to gain it back. If you're trying to build that relationship back up and restore that,
maybe you're a little older now.
Yeah, and restore that subject. Find something where you can actually say, I can respect you and what you have to say about this subject matter.
Build off of what you have.
Build off of that, and start developing that. And then through that process, you also you'll have opportunities to be vulnerable and be like, hey, this is why I lost respect for you. It goes back to like the scenario that I had with my friend where he called me out on me cussing. It's like, man, you cuss all the time. That's why I couldn't hang out with you. I was like, oh, if he hadn't have told me that relationship we probably would have just like separated and been like, oh, and then there wouldn't have been any growth. There wouldn't have been any change. I'd probably still be cussing. Probably not, but who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? So what about someone like me? I've got a 5-year-old boy, an 8-year-old daughter, and a 3-year-old daughter, and it's like, hey, Juan, I'm coming to you. How do I teach my kids to start respecting me?
So you always got to go like, where I'm in the same boat with you, Ben, as far as that. And I always look at the motive. Like, am I trying to teach my kids to fear me? Because if they don't do the things, then there's going to be consequences. Or am I teaching them like actual respect, actual love? Because as a dad, you can use your strength to overpower your child and be like, you're going to do it because I'm telling you to do it. But that's only going to work for so long.
Yeah, it's got a legit shelf life.
It legitimately. Yeah, because I'm getting older, you're getting older, they're getting older. And then, we as men, we kind of peak at 35 and afterwards we're trying to maintain for a little bit, but then it goes downhill. So I've heard.
No.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Sorry
for the rest of y'all.
I'm right there, man. I'm going to stay strong. I'm going to be that guy at 80 years old still running and like doing push-ups and all that stuff and like, yeah. Which, yeah.
Do you do push-ups now?
Yeah.
Oh, good for you.
Not as many as I used to be able to do, but yes, I can still push out 1 or 2.
It is a solid 2, and after that, There's some shaking and sweating.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I remember when I was when I was training to go into the military. I was like, yeah, that was like push-ups was a big thing. I remember one time, me and my brothers and my dad were all in the living room, and everybody's doing push-ups, and my dad's trying to do push-ups too, and he's like, I mean, he got it. He got I think he got a solid 5, and we're like, yeah, dad. And it's like, and my dad's a big guy. You know, he's strong.
Yeah,
but,
I've seen your dad.
Yeah, you know, he's you know, he has a statement when it comes to he can tame a horse. You know, so he's got some strength behind him, you know. But it was funny, man. It's just like, you know, you get that proud moment where you're like, you do something more than your dad. You're like, oh yeah, I'm stronger than my dad in this area, but just in this area. If I'm within 6 feet of him, he can still probably kill me.
Yep. Yeah. They have what's referred to as old man strength,
Which is very real.
it is real. And when they want to use it, you are done.
Yeah.
It's game over. No
Yeah.
chance.
So it goes back. So going back to the subject matter, it's like, how do you do that? You know, this is something I'm still working on, Ben, as far as with my kids, of learning how do I teach them to respect me? Well, first of all, I have to respect them
Yep.
and respect them as individuals and respect what they have to say.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're 5 years old, and you may say, well, whatever they have to say right now is a bunch of nonsense. Well, yeah, but you still have to respect it.
You do. You have to respect where they are in life.
Yeah.
They're trying to learn. They're trying to gain your respect and be a member of your tribe.
Yeah.
You know?
Because even as a little boy, man, you know, my son, he's 2 years old, and it's funny, man. He can sense when he's been disrespected.
Mm-hmm.
As a little, he can tell. You see him get that anger, that frustration. It's like, man, I just disrespected my son, and I've had to apologize to him. I don't know if he understands me, but even just the act of me apologizing for disrespecting him as a man is like, it does something. It does something for me to bring back that honor, bring back that. It restores that relationship to where we can continue building off of that.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's where the key thing is, like, you got to look at your motives. You know, if you're using tactics of intimidation, you're probably doing it wrong. But if you're, you know, if you're when you respect somebody, you give them the opportunity to fail. But if you're removing that opportunity to fail from your kids, that's not respect.
That's right.
You know, that's
Because you want them to succeed. But if they do fail, go, okay, you failed. That's fine.
yeah.
Let's pick you back up and let's keep going because you still need to succeed.
Which I think that's something you're really good at, Ben, as far as like, and it's something that you've taught me whenever you're working with your kids, of having the patience of knowing they're going to make the mistake. It's going to take me twice as long to do this, but I'm going to be teaching my son a valuable lesson through this. And having the willingness and the respect for your child to take them on that journey, that's huge.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's the goal. That's the hope. Well, I'd like to thank all of you for listening to A Mexican and a Redneck, Father of the World. We love you and we're proud of you.